Guys, and welcome to the Looking Forward episode. I hope you've been looking forward to it. I kind of have. I'm sorry there was no video last night. It was just one of those things where this simulation took so much longer than I would have expected it to, and I turned off a lot of the leagues in order to make it run faster. But to go 20, imagine if it was 20 years into the future still takes a very long time, even on this computer, because of just how far we were already into the save, and just one of those things, basically, guys. But if you did enjoy Wimbledon, do drop a like on the video, and of course, if you enjoy this, drop a like. I'm not going to set a like target, just smash it with your face and all that jazz. Anyway, so the way this is going to work, for those of you who have not seen one of these videos that I do before, this is about as close as I come to ever doing FM experiments, so to speak. So what we're going to do, basically, I've already done this, of course. I've recorded this afterwards, but what I've not done is look. So basically what I did, if you want to know how you can do this yourself, not that you probably would already know, basically, you just go in, you retire, obviously, if you want to do this. You change your autosave settings so that it saves once a year on a rolling, not a rolling save, and so that it sets a new file for every single save that it does. Then you just holiday indefinitely, or if you want to do it specifically, but you can only do that up to 5 years. I had to leave this on overnight twice in order to get it to this stage. It was really taking its time. But anyway, I've seen that it's got to 2046, but I've not actually seen anything that's happened. So everything you see is going to be for me seeing it the first time as well. I thought it'd be more fun that way. Now I've got a big list of things that I want to try and get through in this video, things that you guys have suggested. So we're going to look at everything. We're going to look at everything from the old players to Bolton. We're going to look at Ballon d'Or winners. We're going to look at World Cups, Champions League, all the good stuff, basically, as well as how people's careers have progressed in general. So what I've done in order to facilitate that is we've built ourselves a shortlist. Now, this is just a standard shortlist that you can make. What I did was I retired and I went through, added all the senior players from the Wimbledon squad to the shortlist, as well as, now you notice we don't know anything about them almost immediately because we're no longer the manager of the club, which is a bit silly. You'd think that like the day after you'd still probably have some decent knowledge, but that's just how the game works. And I've also added the likes of Nelson Duarte. We've also added, who else have we added? I added a few more as well. Adam Kirk, Shane Williams, Tony Harris, and there was one more. We've got, obviously, G-Pills is on there too. There was one more guy, I swear, that I added, and I can't remember who it was. It was Carlos, who of course plays for Lazio. Those are the only ones I can think of. If I missed anyone, then I'm sorry, but that's just how it is. We've got a lot of stuff to go through. So, as for putting the save itself up, I'm going to put 3 versions of the save up. One is the version which is basically going to be from today in game time, which won't be this exact version because obviously I'm going to retire myself, add a new manager, which you guys can then take over briefly, but then you obviously have to retire him and add yourself in. That's how you take over, basically. It's the best way to do it because unfortunately my save is password protected and I don't want to give the password away. This is the only way I can do it without without doing that, which is what I always do, and it makes sense. That way you guys get to start your own legacy as well. So, we're going to do one from that day. I'll do one from when Bolton were first relegated to Conference North. And I'm also, if you guys want to see it, do let me know, one from 2046 at the very end of this as well, because why the hell not, you know? I figure we may as well do all 3. So that's going to happen. I don't know exactly when it'll be up. Unfortunately, me doing stuff at the weekends, which is what I'm having to do right now, is oddly more difficult than it is for me to do it during the week. So hopefully it'll be up sometime during the week, but I'll let you know on Twitter and all that jazz as well. Right, so the first thing we're going to do simming in 5-year steps, basically. So we're going to jump 5 years, 5 years, 5 years, 5 years. We're going to save all the stuff regarding Bolton and all the awards and stuff. We'll save that to the end. That way we can just look at them all as a whole. What we're going to do for the first part of this is looking at the players over the course of those points. Now, until they retire, they will be staying on this shortlist. Now, I've got every single player set to keep history after retirement. That way we can see their stats when they inevitably retire. So, should all be good. And without further ado, sorry, I've got the hiccups. Anyway, this video could be quite a long one, so grab a drink, put the kettle on, and join me for some time trap. Let's do it. Right, guys, we have travelled to the future, and frankly, in real time, I have travelled to the future because it's been about 2 hours since I did the previous part of this video, and I'm recording this on the Sunday it goes out, so that's kind of difficult. I actually had to go off and fit a car stereo because, of course, I did. That's just what you do, isn't it? Anyway, as you can see from here, it looks like Wimbledon did win the title this year, which is kind of interesting, with Manchester City not that far behind. Big shock. Now then, Aston Villa in the European Cup, though. That's kind of interesting. Anyway, let's go to this part. We can look at that stuff later. Let's look at who's moved. Oh my days, a lot of people have moved. So what we're going to do is sort it by sort of age, so we can see what kind of players are going to be moving on relatively soon. Carlos is in fact one of the oldest players in this, and a lot of players have moved on, you'll notice, but there's still quite a few there. Let's see who's got the most value. Anyone? So Sam Farmer's value is still absurd, and it's still at Wimbledon, which is cool to see. Christian Bonney, however, not so much. Anyway, let's take a little gander at kind of where they've been by sorting them by age and see who's kind of been dropping off the map relatively soon. So Carlos is still at Lazio, which is rather cool, I must say. He's only worth 2.9 million now. He's 33 years old. We just thought we'd take a little look at him while we're here. Pretty decent career, to be honest, really. He's been at Lazio for a very long time after his move, and he's played sort of 30-odd games a season, slowly dwindling a little bit, but he seems to have had a bit of a resurgence in his elderly state, so to speak. So pretty damn pleased with that, him. Now, Everton was a player that I planned on selling. Oh, Fabio, you bastard. You absolute fuck sponge. Anyway, we're moving on to Everton before we get to that. He's at Genk now, which is kind of interesting. He has actually moved around a hell of a lot. He left Wimbledon on a free the season after last year, where he only played one game, which I'm guessing was off the bench. Went to Marseille on a free transfer, only played twice. Went out to Panathinaikos in the Super League on loan. Then back to Marseille, where he didn't play at all, and moved to Genk over in Belgium to sort of probably would, my guess, to be finishing off his career. So he didn't really flourish after we left. Let's put it that way. Don't worry, we'll take a look at how Wimbledon have done over the past 5 years in a sec as well. Tony Harris is at Al Ain, which actually, given everything we know about Tony Harris, doesn't surprise me even a little bit. It really, really doesn't. He strikes me the type of player that would go, money, I'd like money, let's do that. So let's see what's actually happened. So we already know most of it. So he was at Sunderland for a little while, but then he moved over to Sheffield Wednesday in the Championship for £1 million, his largest transfer fee of his career. And he actually played okay. Or rather, he played the majority of his games there. 40, 45 and 45, and actually averaged over a 7 in his final season in English football, which saw him earn a move, presumably on like a 3 or 4 year deal, over to Al Ain, where he didn't play at all in the first season. Then actually, look at that, racking up some insane performances over in the UAE. That's impressive, actually. Look at that, 26 appearances, 4 goals, 3 assists, 3 player of the matches. It seems that Tony really has found himself in the twilight of his career, still a massive bell end, but it's nice to see that he's at least found some kind of quality in his career, shall we say. Let's see what else we got. So Fabio, he's moved on. I'm going to mostly look at, for the moment in this first part, the players that have left Wimbledon, because those that are still there, they're still there, really. What more can we say about them? Now, 33 indicates to me that some players have actually retired already, so we'll just have to take a little look at those as well, one of which is obviously going to be George Pilbeam. So we'll just quickly take a little look at old Georgie Pills. George Pill, I can't spell, Pilbeam, here we go. Retired at the age of 31, having not made a single appearance in his entire club career. George. Well, there you go. That is impressive. He was at Wimbledon for 12 years and didn't make a single appearance after having not made a single appearance for Brentford either. So that's George Pilbeam. We can stop talking about him now. I saw a lot of people saying, I should have George Pilbeam as the manager for the new save. As I said in the video, and I'm going to repeat it now, he cannot be the manager. He is a real player. It's not a case of I don't want real players. It's a case of I don't want to represent real people as the manager in my saves. That's why I always pick Regents, and it's never going to change. Anyway, moving on. What have we got now? Philip Eisler. I figured he might have left at some point, but he hasn't actually left and gone that far afield. He's actually moved around a little bit. Wow, that's interesting, actually. He's moved away to Milan briefly. £5.5 million, actually, so I guess we give him a new contract. Only paid 3 times for them. Eventually moved to Blackburn, and he's been at Blackburn in the Premier League actually for a few seasons now, scoring some goals, getting some assists quite well, but never really getting a lot on the old ratings, which is surprising. Maybe it's just the tactic they were playing him in that's probably affected him a little bit. So Philip Eisler is at Blackburn. I reckon by the time we see him to the next one, it's unlikely that any of these guys are still going to be playing, basically. So that's interesting. Gerardo Cabrera is, of course, still at Wimbledon, which is nice to see. It's nice to see him still there, really. Adam Kirk is now at Plymouth. Then again, Plymouth, aren't they quite a decent side now? Yeah. Okay, so he was at Bristol City for a little bit on a free transfer, then transferred to West Ham for 1.9 million. Remember, we paid £27.5 million for him. Talking of big flops, he is the biggest of all the flops I can think of on this save, for my money anyway. Interesting that he actually started at the McDonald's as well. I did not know that. I thought we bought him from Southampton. I completely forgot that he was from the McDonald's before that. Oh, well, you can't win them all, can you? Moved to West Ham, did okay, but when you look at his actual goal ratings... In fact, no, he didn't do okay at all. He was pretty freaking shocking. 1 goal in 22 appearances for West Ham in the league in that season. Much better now he's moved to Plymouth, though. 18 goals, his best return ever since his time at Bristol City. So in his entire career, he's got 97 goals, which is still not that fantastic, if I've got to be honest with you. Let's move on to who else we got here. Aristide Diallo. Now, he never really played much for us, so it's no surprise to me that he actually moved on, but why goodness me, he moved on to Barcelona for £6.5 million nearly. Only played 5 times before being immediately shipped out the following season to Marseille, where he seems to have carved himself out a career there. He's actually making solid amounts of appearances. He's played for so many clubs. Look at the amount of clubs he's played for, obviously predominantly on loan from Wimbledon, but to be fair, we only paid £475 for the guy, and they cashed in for £6 million, so we can't really complain about that, really, can we? Moving on a little bit, someone also wanted to see Radek Marley. I completely forgot about that, so he's not on my shortlist. Let's see where he is. Is he still at Sheffield Wednesday? No, he's at Rotherham now. The Czech international. He did get 3 caps for them, so we can count that. Here's how his career went. He was at Wimbledon for a little bit. We paid 2.5 million for him, sold him to Sheffield Wednesday in the Championship for £4.5 million. Well, he played a little while for them. His best season was actually in the Championship, where he got 15 goals before moving to Rotherham for £1 million in the Championship. He's only broken the 10-goal season once. Only 114 goals in over 400 appearances is actually pretty awful for a striker. He never averaged more than a 7 over a whole season. So there you go. That's Radek Marley. I won't be showing him again, but that's kind of what he's done in the meantime. Now, other things. Mihailo Langura has gone off to West Brom. I figured he'd probably move on at some point. He's only ever got 3 caps for Serbia. I thought he'd be better than that. Generally, part of me thought he was going to be a solid player for us in the future, but I just don't think he ever amounted to it. Wow, he moved to Manchester City for £425,000. Didn't really play, and they moved him on to West Brom for £2 million. Hey, the fact is we lost money on him, so who's laughing now, really? God, look at that. His final season for Wimbledon, he averaged a 5.94 over 5 games. No wonder they bloody sold him. Christ on a bike. That's Mihailo Langura. Who else is left? Matteo Martin. Whoa! He's gotten bald. He is actually an egg. He's insane. He had like a full lock of hair the last time I saw him. I'm guessing that's his other hairstyle that players switch between. I never actually saw it because he never played enough. So, he was on loan at PSG for a little while. Then he moved to Sunderland for 2.1 million. He's been okay for them, really. He's still not super old, is he? How old is he? 28, my goodness. Okay, he's older than I thought he was. Isis also moved to Huddersfield. We're not that bothered about. Edgar Neves Magales moved over to Monaco in the end, which is interesting. How much for, though, is the big question. On a free transfer. Wow, that is insulting a little bit. Then again, that was in the reserves. He's never really carved out much of a career from, despite us paying 35 million, but that was more a case of to fill a quota rather than to do anything that important, I must say. Moving down a little bit more, Mateus has gone back to Brazil, which is kind of interesting to see. I guess he never really fulfilled what little potential he may have had at the club, really, because it looks like he never really found his feet. He played 1 more season for Wimbledon, scoring 1 goal, and he's moved back over to Brazil, but it's not bad. I mean, it's definitely better. The 12 and 24 is a little bit better. For a striker, 53 goals in 210 games is still not that much. This is what I mean. Like, as much as we might have got it right with quite a few of the players that we signed over the course of the save, we got it wrong on so many of them as well. And maybe if we'd given him more time, he could have produced a bit more. But that's just one of those things. My approach to signing players a lot of the time with this sort of thing, and with the youth conveyor belt style, is a lot of it is throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. And what sticks is players like Sam Farmer and Imran Baltan. But also, you've got just as many, if not more, players that just don't make the grade. But that's just how you have to do it if you want to play the game the way I do. Christian Bonney, now, I hope that they got a lot of money for him, because it stands to reason that, there we go, Wimbledon doing the dirty on Arsenal again, although this time it looks like it's not quite an Agent Planic situation on this one, because he's played a lot for Arsenal and done a bloody good job of it too. And you can't really fault him. He obviously wasn't getting the game time at Wimbledon, and obviously just decided to jump ship. He only had 1 season for us where he scored more than a 7. He's been better than that in every single season for Arsenal, so good luck to the guy is all I can really say on that one. He's still got a bit of his career left, so we'll be pretty pleased to see how that one continues. Warren Millington is now at Newcastle. Again, whoa, Warren, with the Ice Gem haircuts. He's got a broken leg at the moment, which is not quite so good. Moved over to Ipswich for 1.6 million. Played for a little bit in the Championship before moving back to the Premier League for 6.25 million. He's actually he's played a lot of games for Newcastle, not really put in a huge shift, but at least he's playing in the Premier League, so that's something we can always say. Profete Worley is over at Inter Milan, which is kind of cool. How did he get there? Well, he actually played for a few teams out on loan, played a few games for us in the league, and then he moved to Milan for 2.7 million, and has played no games. Repeat, no games. Now we're getting to the point where the players have left the club, as I kind of expected they might have done, to be honest. Juan Viotti, wow, he's worth £24 million. I hope they paid Wimbledon a lot of money for it. Oh, dear, guys. I thought that guy had some potential, and clearly he does. But unfortunately, he didn't realise it at Wimbledon, although he did actually play 22 games for us in that season, and was appalling, evidently, which is a shame, but what can you do? Moved to Torino, and he's slowly got better, and he's still not super old just yet, I don't think. So how old is he, actually? He is 24, so there's still more to come from him. More to come. Les Campbell is at Crystal Palace, worth £4 million. Okay, I love the hair. It's glorious. It really is fantastic. And what's happened with him? He's played for Wimbledon for a little bit, played a few games, basically none. Moved to Palace. He's got 2 goals in 12 appearances. Again, paid over the odds for him, but that's just how it is with these players, isn't it? Adri Shot over here. We play for Huddersfield now, interesting. But look at that. He's worth £20 million. Nice. And how much did they... More 7 million quid they paid for him, which is a bit poor. He's been out on loan for a few seasons, but hey, he's really settling in nicely over at Huddersfield, which is really cool to see. I'll be interested to see how some of these players' careers progress, frankly. And finally is Terry Blanchett. Actually, we're not going to bother with him because he's clearly not developed at all. So looking at value right now, most value, Sam Farmer still at 66 million, up there with Baltham. Look at that, Rodriguez is up there as well now. So what we're going to do now is quickly take a quick, very, very quick, look at the league, because as you can see, people like, hang on, no, where's Nelson Duarte? Nelson, is he retired? Surely he can't have retired. Nelson Duarte, is he one of the players that left? Oh no, there he is. I swear he's on this list. Maybe he was and I just add to shortlist. I swear I added him to the shortlist. Okay, well there's Nelson Duarte. He's at Barcelona now, having gone to Manchester City from Dortmund for 7.75 million. Barely played. Second season didn't play at all. Moved over to Dortmund. See, this is why you should have come back, Nelson. That is what you should have done, my friend. As for where is he? Shane Williams was another one I swear I added to the list. Maybe he's retired as well. Something we're going to have to keep an eye on throughout this. I'm going to try and do my best to keep track of it, but it is going to be quite difficult. Shane Williams, that's not the guy, is it? No, that is probably not the guy, unless he's changed his race as well. Because he's Barbadian, which is rather cool. I'm guessing it's this guy here. Retired at the age of 27. Wow, after a £20-odd million move, £28.5 million move, and he only played 9 games for Wimbledon. Played for Sheffield Wednesday for a long time, but then just retired. Was it an injury or something? I don't even know. Anyway, next stage in this is probably to go into the future and kind of see what's been going on in 5 years' time when a lot of these players will have retired and hopefully some of them will have gone into management. So let's jump into the future. Right then, guys, we're back. Only 25 players are still playing, but that means that there are still some that are still playing, and then some of them are still at Wimbledon as well, which is incredibly impressive. Let's just look at who's at Wimbledon. So Gavriscoli's still there. Salvi is still there. Who else? Cabrera is still there at the age of 36. Hang on, let's sort it by age so we can see who's the oldest. Wrong way. So, yeah, Gavriscoli and Cabrera is still at Wimbledon at the age of 36. Don't worry, we'll look at the league in a sec as well. I just wanted to do it in 10-year chunks. That is impressive, actually, I have to say. So, who else is still there? Salvi's still there, Ballester is still there, Rodriguez is still there, Kenneth is not still there, which is a shame. Achibar, Peter and Baltam are still there too, as is Lee Alexander is surprisingly still at Wimbledon, which is kind of cool. Everybody else, though, has vacated the area, so to speak. So, let's take, again, a look at the players that have left the club now. So, Aristide Diallo, we've already really looked at him, not really that important at this point. Roman Masek, though, you naughty man leaving the club. He's 35 years old, though, 101 caps for the Czech Republic. Fair play to him, though. What a player he was for Wimbledon over a very, very long time. I hope he got himself a testimonial. He did obviously start to fade away a little bit, though. And as around about the sort of time that we won the league. The next season he came back with a vengeance, but again, his performances never quite got back to the level he was at before. But 431 games in his career is pretty decent. He then left on a free transfer to join PAOK, one of our old rivals from the European days, and then eventually moved to Bordeaux. And he's done a couple of seasons there, and it's been okay, some goals, some assists. But he really is a stalwart player of this save, and he played for a very long time at Wimbledon. So for that, we thank him. Moving on now to... What else we got to get? Let's have a little gander at... Seki moved to Roma, and he's bald as well. Everybody's going bald now. I suppose it's with their age. Maybe that adjusts it a little bit more. Maybe they've changed it so when they get older, their hair goes a bit funny. I don't know. Free transfer to Roma, which is a shame because we paid a fair amount of money for him, and he actually stayed at the club for a very long time. 9 years, I think. It's not bad, actually, for a player I thought wasn't going to be that great at the time. It was more of a backup player to Javi Manquillo, who we will look at in a sec. In fact, I might look at him now, because there's no way in hell he's still alive. Not alive! No way he's still alive. No way he's still playing. Man, Keo, here he is. When did he retire? At the age of 35. So he joined Espanyol for a little spell in the end. But what I'm going to do is... We'll get to the end before I start looking at managers. We'll just look at who's still playing at this point, and we'll do the manager bit in the very last one, so we can see their careers in a little bit more, not positive like per se, but just sort of in a more complete setting. Langura is still at West Brom. Matteo Martin now moves to Oxford, who I don't know where they're playing. Well, let's find out, shall we? They're playing in Sky Bet League 1, which is kind of cool. He played a long time for Sunderland, though. Anyway, let's move on to players that we haven't talked about just yet. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Mateus is still there. Kenny V. Kenny V. He moved to PSV, and that's making things very sad for me. Anyway, that's the thing is with Kenny V. He never really got a chance, I think. Having been behind Fabio for so long. You thought he might have got a chance, though, once Fabio moved to PSG, the jump shipping bastard, which we will take a look at in a sec. Don't worry about that. Now, yeah, he did okay, to be honest, in his first full season at Wimbledon, and that was probably, that was in fact his best season. He scored some goals in the 2026-2027 season, but in fact he scored a decent amount of goals in the next 2 years as well. And frankly, he played a decent amount of games for Wimbledon over the years. I think it was 11 seasons before finally moving back home to Holland to play for PSV in the Eredivisie. 25 games for them. You know, he's actually probably had his best season in years playing for them, so we can't really fault him that. Everybody loves a bit of Kenny V. I wonder if his hair's all weird. No, he's still got good hair. It's good stuff. He's still got a good head of hair on him. That's what I like to see. Bonnie is still at Arsenal. Millington is still at Newcastle. Werle's now, interestingly, at Sheffield United. Viotti is still at Torino. Les Campbell's at Brentford. Adley Shot. Look at that. He's at Huddersfield, but he's worth £37 million. That is a lot of money he's worth. £145,000 a week. I'm interested to see what the league is looking like at this point, if he's seriously worth that amount of money. You look at the assists he's getting for Huddersfield. Surely he can't stay at Huddersfield for much longer, unless Huddersfield have become one of those teams that just come out of nowhere to be like challenging for things. You just never know. But it doesn't appear as though there's any continental games being played, so he's just a really loyal player, which is really nice to see. So that's the players that we've got right there. Let's take a little look at the Premier League. Why the hell not? Let's just do it like this, because I can't think of how else we're going to get there at this point. So, Premier League. We want to take a little look at Wimbledon as well, actually, while we're here. Now, it looks like Wimbledon have lost the league this year by 18 points, but they have won it a few times since I left, which is kind of cool to see. Let's just take a little look at how they've done over that time. So, most of say, Pingu. He's come in and done something good. I did a good. Hot prospect is Nesta Michel. Pingu is a key player for them now. Sam Farmer is still at the club, which is so nice to see. I dread to think how many games he's played for them. So, when did we win the league? We won the league that year. So we came second. Oh, that was the year, wasn't it? And then first, we won it again. Then dropped to third, second, first. Back-to-back wins there. Down to second. Down to first. Seventh. What were we playing at? That's unacceptable behaviour. Let's see if we can look at the managers that we've had since I left. Whoa, we've had quite a few. My goodness. Antonio Conte came in. We were there for 10 years with 3 league wins and 7 cup wins. Antonio Conte came in, did win the league once. I don't know if he won anything else, though. Did he win anything huge? Major on a Premier League, European Super Cup, but no proper European Cup. Then in come Leonardo Jardim, who was sacked after not even a year in charge. Diego Simeone came in 4 years, but he did win the Champions League with Wimbledon, but somehow, he retired from management. So well done, Diego Simeone. If anything, he was more successful than me in... no, he wasn't. FA Cup, couple of Premier Leagues, Super Cup, and a Champions League. You can't fault him. He was fantastic. Next came Frank de Boer, who won the Premier League and the Charity Shield, and Andre Breitenreiter, who was, of course, pretty poor as an Arsenal manager, was also pretty poor as a Wimbledon manager. Attia Malfatti, is he a real person, or am I just being silly? I don't think he's a real person. That's a regen that's come in and retired, I think. He was the assistant, of course. And then currently in charge is Sergei Rebrov, who was at Palace and Arsenal for a bit, and he's won the Champions League as well. Interesting. So I'm guessing we've won the Champions League a few times in the meantime. Let's just take a quick gander at that while we can. Is that a thing we can do? Yes, we can. So how many times have we won that now? Once, twice, 3 times a lady, people. 3 times a lady. That is really, really interesting to see that we've actually won it a few times in my absence. I don't think Wimbledon, Pompey won it at all. Let's just take a little look at the trophy room. Is that something we can do? I swear it is. Competitions, overview. There we go. So we've got 3 European Cups, 6 Premier League titles, 1 Europa League, 2 European Super Cups, 3 FA Cups, 3 Capital One Cups, 5 Charity Shields. That is pretty damn astonishing, and I wonder how they'll do over the next few years. But let's just take a little look now at the way the league has gone over the last few seasons. Not season preview. I assume we were expected to come top. No, we actually weren't, interestingly. Stages. So, this year, pretty damn poor, as you can see. Not really doing a lot. Huddersfield are sort of mid-table, which is kind of cool as well. Arsenal won it the previous year when we came 7th, and we actually came below Fulham, and Liverpool were relegated quite comfortably. So there's that as well. What else we got? Wimbledon won it that year. They went from winning it to coming 7th, which is pretty astonishingly poor as well. We're just taking a little look through these as well. I don't want to dwell on them for too long. I just want to see if there's anything that really stands out as being strange at this point. I don't think there really is. Peterborough were relegated from the Premier League. The fact that they were there at all is pretty cool. Anything else? We're starting to come down. Cardiff, Nottingham Forest go down. Wimbledon sort of battling it out. Really low points tallies winning the league. Look at the points tallies required to win the league, and yet we failed to win it with 93 points. Insane stuff in every membrane. Now then, yeah, it's pretty much the same teams that are sort of battling back and forth from the leagues, basically. And don't worry, we are going to do a Bolton update, don't worry about that, but we're going to save that stuff until the very end of the save. Anyway, let's jump another 5 years into the future, where we can see if there is anyone still playing, quickly take a look at them, and then we'll sort of round things off by going through everything in a little bit more detail and looking at some of the managerial careers of some of these players that I've got on the list to my left-hand side. Anyway, to the future! Alright then guys, we are back and it is 2041. We have moved, how many years? 15 years into the future, and there are only 4 players from my original list still playing. Amazingly, one of them is Christian Bony, who is still, at the age of 37, at Arsenal. If he doesn't have a statue by now, I don't know what he has to do. Anyway, let's take a quick gander at him while we're here, since these guys are still at the clubs impressively. To be honest, a guy who played for Wimbledon for quite a long time has gone on and played for how long? Like 13 seasons at Arsenal as well? And look at that, he's had averaging over a 7 in every single one but one season, his final year. That is astonishingly good. I'm really, really impressed with the way that he's played. How many caps for Belgium? 107 caps for Belgium as well. What a player he turned out to be. Maybe we should have played him a little bit more, but this is the thing. You don't learn this stuff until afterwards. 415 games for Arsenal as well. The age of 37. Is he retiring at the end of the season? His contract is up at the end of this season, so I'm guessing that's probably when he will retire. That's astonishing, but it looks like he's won a few Premier Leagues over the last 10 years as well, so maybe Arsenal have started to really turn into something, it would seem. So that's Christian Bony. Juan Viotti is worth... Well, he's 34. He's 34. You know, he's 34 years old. Still at Torino, though, which is kind of cool to see him play for them for so long again. Did a really good job there. I don't know whether see if he's actually won anything in his time there. No, he actually didn't win anything with Torino. He won the Capital One Cup and the Charity Shield whilst at Wimbledon, but that is all, which is a bit of a shame for a player that looks like pretty decent. He's got 118 caps for Uruguay. That's all we really need to know. And look at the amount of positions he can play in. This man is the versatility master. Anyway, Adri Shot. He's at Chelsea now. Okay, so he must have made a big money move. I can't see... I don't know if we can see that... No, we can't see the price tag on here, can we? Oh, we probably can. Oh, no, we can't. Okay, good. Because I wanted to take a guess at how much he's moved to Chelsea for. Because if you look at Huddersfield and how much he was worth at times when he was at Huddersfield and the way he played for them, I'm going to say that he's probably cost Chelsea 42 million. But then again, it's Huddersfield, so it'll probably be like 10 million and we'll just be like, what? But let's take a little quick gander at how much he moved for. 33.5 million he moved to Huddersfield for. So, no, not to Huddersfield, moved to Chelsea for. And frankly, it looks like he got even better when playing for Chelsea. I mean, less assists and goals, but he just... I don't know, he just seemed to get better ratings. Maybe it's just because of the team around him. Has he won stuff? I'm guessing he has. 82 caps for Holland. No big surprise there. Surprisingly, though, he doesn't seem to have won anything since his debut with Wimbledon, which is interesting. I don't know what's going on there, unless that's because it doesn't show everything. We'll have to take a look at that at a later date. And finally, there's Terry Blanchett, who's 32. It's nice. It's interesting to see that some players that are in between there have already retired as well. Wow, he looks very different. He's playing at Plymouth Argyle. I don't think he ever really did much. No, he was basically nothing. So again, we'll take a quick gander at the way the leagues are shaping up as well. Why the hell not Wimbledon? See if they've won anything new over the last sort of... Oh my goodness, 15th in the Premier League. Wimbledon, what are you doing, folk? This is appalling. So they came 7th there, then they came back up to 3rd, then 5th, and then 12th, and then 13th. Oh, don't tell me something bad's going to happen. Oh, please don't tell me this is what to happen. Right, okay, well, they've not won anything since then, let's face it. Let's see what the manager situation's changed then. So Sergei Rebrov, he retired from management having won the European Cup in 2035. So this wasn't even that long ago. Alexander Meyer came in. Is he a real person or is he? Yes, he is actually. He's a Colombian. He's now managing Bristol City. Was sacked. But he did win the Capital One Cup, so there's that. But then it looks like we're heading into a barren spell here. Joe Welsh was the caretaker. Then in came Kyle Ebersilio, who is a Dutchman. Okay, cool. Sacked after winning the FA Cup and the Community Shield again. Then Joe Welsh was back there. Obviously, he was the assistant. Then Jordan Rhodesy, was in for less than a year and won nothing and was sacked, which is a real shame. He lost 17 games of his tenure. That's pretty poor. Now, the current manager, who's not been in charge that long and has not done that well either, really, is Ugur Ayçiçek. Ayçiçek? Apologies, it's a Turkish name, and I really, really do suck with... He's Danish. Okay, you know what I'm saying, though, because that is a name of Turkish origin, is it not? He just happens to be Danish, but he's a region, which is kind of cool. I wonder who he played for in his career. Wow, that's interesting. He actually played for Midtjylland. Nice to see. And Beersheva, which is kind of cool as well. Apologies if I butchered that name. I absolutely must have done. Okay, that's fine. I mean, that isn't, but what can you do about it? Let's take a little look at the league and see how things are shaping up over the past 5 years then. So look at this. We've entered a period of domination from Arsenal. I mean, over the last 5 years, they've won 4 in a row. And look at that, Fulham player is the top scorer in the league, and Fulham have turned into a monstrous team. And look at this, Wimbledon only survived relegation by 8 points this season. What has happened to you guys? Where did this sort of all go wrong? So they came, they came third, then they dropped to fifth, which is fine, you know, shit happens. Whatever. Coventry were relegated from the Premier League, having been in the Premier League. Then they dropped to 12th. That's when things started to go really wrong, but they were still fine. They're miles away from relegation. Much closer to the sort of playoff places, but look, not playoff places, you know what I mean? Fulham, look at Fulham. I wonder if they'll win it. Huddersfield have dropped a little bit, probably because they lost Anthony Shot. But look at that, 13th place. And then this season, 15th place. Minus 21 goal difference. They only scored 32 times all season. There's one more game to go, which is very strange. Very strange indeed. But the fact is, look at that. They've only scored 32 times in the entire season. They've obviously lost their firepower, and that is a massive, massive worry for me. Anyway, we're going to do the final jump into the future now, where all the players have been retired, and we can start to look at their managerial careers and all the other good stuff, including a Bolton update, all the other players, all the trophies, all the World Cups, and all the goodies. Anyway, I'll join you guys in the future. Right then, we are back, and it is now 2046, the end of the simulation. They're rich though, so there's that, but if you look at the way things have gone for Wimbledon over the past few seasons, they have fallen off to an almost biblical degree. Not quite in the old, we're going to get relegated level, but still pretty damn poor. So, but on the plus side, they've got Simon Jordan, the former owner of Crystal Palace, is now the manager of the club, or Siegfried of Siegfried and Roy fame, which is always good in my book. 14th, 13th, 17th. Wimbledon. Bad Wimbledon. Go to your room. Can we just talk about this for a second? Can we talk about the Peter Stadium for a second? If you were like in a position to name your stadium, right? And you're thinking we could call it like Belmont Grove or something really fancy. No, we're going to call our stadium Peter. Peter. Oi, Peter. That is the worst possible name for a stadium I think I've ever heard. And I love it. I absolutely love it. It was not built that long ago, and of all the players, maybe Peter's been an absolute monster for Wimbledon over his career. We're going to look at the best 11 and see how well he did, and maybe he's part of that. Maybe he turned out to be a fantastic signing. Who knows? Anyway, first thing we're going to do is look at the Premier League over this spell, because we're going to do a lot of looking around. We'll just get this bit out of the way so we can take a look at some of the players and how they've done, because that's what we're here for in the end, isn't it? So, over the last few years, City have won it, Arsenal have won it, City have won it, Chelsea, Spurs won a title, folks. That happened. Maybe it's a premonition. And Arsenal, of course, have won it again. So the thing is, though, something I've noticed that this year is that, firstly, Arsenal have a player called Nem, and Chelsea have a player called Nem. So that's always good. Just want to see if there's any funny names. DiQuinio. I like him. Oh, my God. Sorry. I'm really trying here. I don't know what's so funny about that. Villa have a goalkeeper called Bill. Oh, that sounds like someone's uncle and I love it. I'm sorry, that is one of my favourite regen names I think I've ever seen. Ricky Lambert was sacked as Leicester manager, everybody. But seriously, Bill, that's a thing now. Oh god, I might have to do a separate video just looking through regen names in this save. If anyone wants to see that, let me know. Okay, so hang on, just compose myself for a minute now. So Brighton were relegated, having lost a lot of games. Wimbledon came 12th that season. So how did they do last year? How close were they? Survived relegation by a single point. That is unacceptable, Wimbledon. I dread to think who was managing them at the time. So Fulham have really stepped it up. It's been really cool to see how well Fulham have done. They really have been consistently very good. About as consistent as Wimbledon have been at being really, really mediocre. Sheffield Wednesday and Sheffield United both relegated in the same season. The derbies that year must have been fierce. Like Beyonce fierce. Let's see. Okay, we're pretty much done there, really. Anyone else that sort of... Thing is, what I noticed on a lot of my saves is that you generally get clubs that you wouldn't expect to see in the top flight get all the way to the top flight, but that doesn't seem to have happened at all this season in this simulation, which is rather interesting, I have to say. Anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to go to the current day, and then we're going to look through the other leagues in England and see if there's any massive movers perhaps in the lower divisions, because what you often see more than that perhaps is teams from like conference north-south sometimes get into like the championship and so on. So let's take a little look, see what Bolton did. We'll find them eventually and then we'll take a little gander at them. So the playoff final is Bournemouth v Coventry, fair dues. In the league, where are Bolton? Are Bolton in it? Oh, they're not, they're not. Notts County, Norwich, despite Notts County having a really big resurgence there, and Wolves all go down. Anyone a little bit surprising? Swindon are in there, Everton, Leeds. Excuse me, what? Coventry got into Europe? Despite playing in the FA... They must have played in the FA Cup final. I'm guessing that's Remy Dumont. Wasn't he that player that played for Arsenal? That name rings a lot of bells. Rings all sorts of bells. I'm pretty certain he was a guy that played for Arsenal or something, or someone. Or was it Schalke? I don't know. I recognise the name. I remember saying it was the Frenchest name I'd ever heard. Anyway, let's take a little look at League One. Bolton have to be in here. Cardiff and Tranmere in the playoff final. Where are Bolton? Bolton, you had one job, guys. One job. Palace are in League One, by the way, as are Ipswich, which is kind of noticeable. Wycombe, Pompey, Birmingham and Shrewsbury going down, which is a real shame. To see Birmingham drop again. Okay, Morecambe versus Cambridge in the playoff final. Nothing's really changed particularly here. Of note. Where are Bolton? Bolton, for the love of God, guys. They were doing so well. Okay, Exeter, Fleetwood and Forest Green go up. In the playoffs with Cambridge and Morecambe, obviously. Macclesfield are nice to see up there. Boreham Wood are in League 2. And so are Corby and Chippenham. This is kind of cool. Bury and Rochdale go down. Please tell me Bolton are at least in the conference. Stockport beat Grimsby in the final. Go on, where are you, Bolton? Bolton got relegated from the conference. Come on, guys! Okay, so Blackpool and Stockport go up. Anyone else interesting in here as well? Oxford are in there. Yeovil are in there. Leighton Orient get relegated from the conference along with Gloucester. We'll go down and take a look at these before we take a look at what Bolton have been up to over the past 20 seasons. Not a lot, it would seem. Halifax lost to Hales Owen. Wow. That's really cool to see Hales Owen up in... Well, that was their first season. I guess they must have got promoted. And now they've been promoted again, it would seem, to the conference, which is really cool. Hales Owen are a local team from where my girlfriend used to live. So let's go back. We want to go down, didn't we? That's what we're doing. Ugh, apologies for that. Right, league table. Gateshead and Hales Owen go up. Down go Kidderminster, Salford, City, Ben, terrible. And Chorley go down with an absolutely woeful points tally. Anyone else that you don't expect to see down here that is down there? Scunthorpe United are down in Conference North, so they've obviously done themselves a Bolton. This is where I turn it around and I've just completely not noticed that Chelsea have fallen down there or something. Let's see Conference South while we're here. Staines have beaten Stevenage. That's not what I wanted to do at all. Let's go to schedule. And, oh, no, that's not what I wanted to do at all. How do I get back to it? There we go, that's the one. Let's go to the league. Come on now. There we go. League table. Dagenham and Redbridge are promoted from the Conference South. Wealdstone nearly went up with them, proving once and for all that they do in fact have some fans. So who else we got? Hayes and Yedding, Grays, Havant, Waterlooville, Chesham, East Thurrock, Leatherhead United. Minus 97 goal difference. We need to take a little look at that, please. Wow. They conceded 107 times in one season. It's not quite Bolton, where they finished with a negative points tally, but still, 97 minus, along with East Thurrock United. East Thurrock. That's pretty damn impressive. Anyway, let's do what we're all here for. Let's find out what Bolton have been up to, apart from getting relegated. Oh, dear. Oh, my buggery balls. Holy cock. Okay, right, so where we left off, basically, Bolton were then promoted from League 2 the following season as well, up into League 1. They consolidated themselves. Not bad, not bad, not bad. Got promoted back to the Championship, immediately relegated. Probably fine, right? This is what my prediction was as what happened with Bolton, because it actually looks like they were back down in Conference North-South again. My prediction as to what happened with Bolton is they went, oh, hello, we're going up, we're going up, we're going up. And then they got to this point and they got right into the Championship and they thought, let's spend all the money we have. They bought boats, they bought yachts, they bought trucks, and then immediately got relegated 2 years in a row back down to League 2 again, where they managed to maintain themselves, sort of had a blip where they thought, oh, we might go up, and then they went down, and then they got relegated, and then they got relegated. And what really worries me here is that there was this season here, a couple of seasons ago, where they very nearly got relegated from Conference North. Bolton, you had one job. Is that Michael Scarn? I thought it said Michael Scarn. That would have been quite something. That would have been like threat level midnight stuff. Anyway, let's take a look at Wimbledon again so we can see who's been managing them through this period of utter turmoil. And don't worry, there's more stuff to come. I know this video is going to be quite long, but you guys wanted it long and that's what you're going to get, really. So, we're going to look at the managers first, then we'll take a look at the records and all the good stuff and we'll go through everything properly. Don't you worry about that. So, managers, where were we last time? It was this fella here who resigned from the role after a year and a half of winning sweet nothing. Next up was Jose Ignacio, who was sacked after 157 days, having only won 7 games. Next up, Mark Noble was the caretaker, which means I'm guessing he was like the assistant manager at the time. In came Patrick DeLong, who won nothing, which is good. Mark Noble took over for a little while again. Then Manuel Mauga came in, was there for a year and a bit, won nothing. Won some games, always nice. Now in comes Simon Palmer, who is still at the club. not really done a very good job either, but, you know, half and half, it's not the end of the world. It's not quite Slavidanchev level of goodness. Look at that, 326 games won. Something else I want to point out is that we got to the 120th episode, the final episode of the series, and there were still people in the comments that thought my name was Slavi. So just to clear things up, my name is not Slavi. I am not Bulgarian. I know my accent is incredibly thick and Bulgarish, but no, not Bulgarian, promise. So, what should we check next? Let's take a little look at records. Yes, let's look at records. So, highest league position, of course. Those ones are pretty sort of speak for themselves. Let's see if any new records. So, highest attendance was, of course, at Manchester City. With our new stadium. Highest gate receipts was against Leeds. Interestingly, wow, that's a lot of money. We must have paid a fortune. Average attendance is a little bit worryingly low. Let's see what else we've got here. That, pretty certain, was... I feel like that was actually in a game I took charge of, which is interesting, if nothing else. 900 people, really, came to that game. Biggest win... None of these... Oh, yeah, here we go. Biggest defeat was 6-0 to Chelsea. Highest scoring game was one we took charge of, the 6-3 against Cardiff. Highest transfer fee paid was still by me. We got £66 million for Fabio to PSG. Since we're on the screen, we can actually take a little gander at him now. What is Fabio doing with his time? He's the manager of Charlton. Of course he's the manager of Charlton. Why would he not be the manager of Charlton? But it does look as though he's had a pretty damn impressive career so far. So we'll just take a little look at his career stats while we're here. So he moved to PSG for £66 million. I don't think we can really fault him that. Played okay for them for a few seasons, it seems. Done fair enough. That's all right. Not about his achievements after that, though. So after he left Paris Saint-Germain, he joined Ponte Preta as the reserve team manager. Then he was the Brazil under-23s manager. Then he was the Blackburn under-18s manager. Then he was the Liverpool under-19. Then he was a coach at Huddersfield, which means he might have been in charge of Adderley Shot. And then he finally got himself a job at Colchester, where he was eventually sacked after... He was not at Colchester for very long, was he? Poor lad. Did he win anything? No, he didn't. At Bournemouth, how did he do at Bournemouth? He must have got the Charlton job for a reason. No, nothing at Bournemouth. And he's done okay at Charlton now. He's won Manager of the Month 4 times already. So maybe at Charlton, maybe this is going to be his year to become a fantastic manager. Who knows? Anyway, moving on. So yeah, that's a lot of spending as well. Could we just say that right off the bat? Hugo Rodriguez, what did he do? He retired at the age of 37, having played for Wimbledon for 477 games. Nice stuff. Well done, you bearded lovely man. Okay, moving on to this side of the table. So most league goals for club. Alexander Peter got 302 league goals for Wimbledon. That is incredible. That really, really is incredible. I've got to see how well he's done over his career. Let's just take a little look and see what he did in the career stats. So, oh my lord, look at this. 340 goals in his career. He averaged, I mean, he got, what was it? That was the season that we won the Champions League. He got 22, then 17, 30, 29, 21, 16, and then 20 every single season after that, at least. I mean, you can't say that. £28 million, he was worth 3 times that with the amount of goals he's got. 302 league goals for Wimbledon. I wonder if that's like a new Premier League record for highest goal scorer ever. I don't think it is. I imagine that guy from City that was incredibly good probably did that one for us. Let's just a little look at... He then moved to Inter, did a little bit. Now he's the director of football at Leverkusen after a little bit of a break, which is kind of cool as well. Top league goal scorer, Kevin Cooper, we can ignore that. Highest average rating is, of course, still Alessandro Salvi. Youngest player is a guy called Colby Partridge, who, by the way, has one of the most fantastic names. Again, pretty damn cool. Very, very young as well. Made his debut for Wimbledon at the age of 16. Oldest player, Marcus Gale. Okay. Fastest goal. That's, again, none of this apply. None of this has happened since we left. Most games lost in a row. We lost 9 in a row in the Premier League. Most games without winning. 13 games without winning. God, not my fault. Not my fault. Most games won in a row, though, actually was 21. And that was not under me either. So there's that. That is a thing. That's not really that important. Results... Biggest wins, no 8s. I was really hoping to get an 8 at some point. We never quite got there, did we? Look at that, 21 games won in a row is astonishingly good. Players, top goal scorer, look at this, Alexander Peter pretty much dominated it from then on, really. 36s. Jose Vicente, who is he? Probably retired by now, I'd expect. He's the manager of Cordoba. I'm guessing he played for them for quite a while. We'll have a little look. Peter, again, all the way through to 2038. Then Johan Ross took over. Christian Ramasut. Yeah. Nicholas Bernal and Pepe Rodriguez. What about a top assister? Top league goal scorer? No, we want to see most goals in a match. Did anyone ever break a Fabio record? Nah, you see, it was all about Fabs with his big 4 goals in a match. No one's even got more than a hat-trick since then. Pitiful. Most assists in a full season. Salvi 44 that year. Sam Farmer actually somehow got 25. I'm guessing they changed the tactic up quite a bit. Pingo did very, very well. Tom Demont, Mario Garcia, Alex, Rick Covermans. Didn't he used to play for Arsenal? I swear he played for Arsenal at some point. No, different guy. Okay, Arsenal had a player called Covermans. I swear they did. Highest average rating is never going to quite come close to that, but still some decent results over the sort of course of that. Most player of the match was worst discipline. Who's been a naughty boy the most? Any names that stand out? Mohamed Achibar. Naughty Achibar. Youngest player, oldest goal scorers, fans player of the year. Well, surprisingly, Peter did not win it once, did he? Yes, he did, once, which is a little bit worrying. But look at this, Romeo Mosti. He must be an incredibly good footballer. He's an Italian, 31 years old. Ooh, he's a deep line playmaker. Okay, it must be because of the way they play. I don't know. Fastest goal, not that important. Transfers, any big... Kian Linda. Wow, that's a cool name. Where's he from? He is from... Oh, he's Japanese. Okay. And apparently has blonde eyebrows, which is what I like to see in a man. Okay, cool. So... what else can we really look at? Let's do best 11. We have to do the best 11 of all time. The best 11. What? Why is that a thing? No. What? Why is that guy in the best 11 of all time when Alexander Peter is... What? No, this looks broken, which is a real shame. Galfrascoli. So let's see what happened to Galfrascoli. 36, retired at... Yeah, wow, I mean, that's all we can really say about it. Retired as a Wimbledon player. Javi Manquillo we already looked at. These guys... done okay for us clearly, but I don't think they really matter as much as some of the other guys. Mario Garcia, Tom O'Connor, Alex Domingo Perez Martinez. But now, why are they all like... Half these guys haven't even played that much and they're in this, whereas players that have played loads and are better aren't in that. That doesn't really sit well with me. It just seems like it's a bit broken, which is a real shame. But what can you do? Gerardo Cabrera, 607 games for Wimbledon in his career. Retired having been a Wimbledon player for... God knows, 13 seasons. I hope he got a testimonial. 140 games as well for Uruguay. 36 years old at the age he retired. Alessandro Salvi, 636 games for Wimbledon. What's old Alessandro up to these days? He's the director of football at Napoli. He played for Wimbledon. Then, of course, he went out to Olympiacos for a little bit, which is nice to see. Did all right for them as well. Never quite got back to his old days with his assists, but still looked like a pretty solid player. What has he done since then? He was a player at Olympiacos, and then he jumped straight into the director of football job at Napoli, because, of course, he did. Imran Bato, this is insane. 861 appearances for Wimbledon. That is mental. And 195 goals in his career. That strikes me as pretty damn impressive. He retired at the age of 35. 618 appearances in the league and 128 goals in the Premier League for Wimbledon. Played for them for literally 20 years. 20 seasons he did at Wimbledon. That is astonishing. I wish he'd gone into management. 168 caps for France as well. What a player. I've never seen a player accumulate that many games before. Literally, genuinely never have. Alexander Peter, we've already looked at big A. Pete, but look at that. 433 goals in his career in 728 games. That is astonishingly good. Brian Gomez... It's nice to see him in there as well. Again, stayed at Wimbledon his entire career, retired at the age of 35. And Pingo, we don't know much about this lad, but it turns out he might have been quite a decent player, I'm guessing. Played for Chelsea for a little bit. Bit of a shame. What can you do? Okay. So now, we're going to quickly take a look at the Premier League records and see if we broke any of those. Because that'd be quite an interesting one to see if we've broken anything. So, overview. Modern day records. Were there any Wimbledon ones? So, lowest attendance was Wimbledon in 1993. Okay, that's not really relevant. Highest average attendance is Arsenal. Did we break any records? Games without scoring? No. Team points. Manchester City got 97 points one season, which is freaking ridiculous. Most goals in a match, obviously, I remember telling you guys about that. That's not really what we want. We want a bit more specific stuff. Attendance is always going to be that, of course. Sequences, teams, players. Where's like... I want like a top goal scorer of all time type of thing. Like, not in one season, like an entire thing. Why is there not that? Can we not access that? Which would be a real shame if you couldn't access that. Which it doesn't look as though you can, which is a real shame, actually. I would like to have seen like who's got the most league goals ever in the Premier League, but it doesn't look as though we're actually ever going to see that, which is a real shame. But what can you do, guys? That's how it is. Right, so what shall we take a look at next? Actually, I'm going to look through the players now, see who's where and what they've done. So Sam Farmer, what has old Sammy Farmer done? He's the manager of Millwall, which is kind of cool to see. He has aged, man. They have actually changed them, haven't they? They've made the players age. That's kind of cool. I like that. The regens look older. I never really noticed that before, but clearly that's what happens. So, career stats. Played for Wimbledon his entire career. I mean, that is astonishing. he never left. After he joined us, he was there for the long haul. Over 20 seasons. In fact, like 21 seasons or 22. A lot of seasons is the main thing, the crux of the matter here. So, what's he done after that? After leaving Wimbledon, as a player anyway, was fitness coach. He was actually the manager of Charlton before Fabio was, which is kind of interesting. Manager of West Ham, didn't win anything there. I'm guessing was sacked. Sacked, yep. Got his B coaching license. Went to Southend, was sacked. Crawley was sacked as well. Millwall, he has not yet been sacked. And has he won any awards? He's actually won an award as manager of the month at Millwall. So maybe he's finally finding his feet as well now after a few quite poor results, shall we say. Who else have we got? Let's check out Atchabar. Mohamed Atchabar is a coach at West Ham. I wonder how his career went after he left us. No, he didn't leave us. Of course he didn't. Look at that. Again, played for us for donkey's years. Achievements in his career. He was, of course, again at Sunderland, Manchester City, managed Bradford for a little while before being sacked. Was Exeter as a coach. He was actually interim manager briefly, then a caretaker manager, then an interim manager, and now he's a coach at West Ham. So no full managerial jobs yet for him as such. What about Romany Masek? Let's see, this episode's probably going to be over an hour, guys, but if this is the sort of stuff you're interested in, then hey, it'll probably interested you. It's a shame. Roman Masek aged quite a bit as well. Did not go into management. I thought he would have been a good manager, that sort of real dependable guy in the middle. Let's try it. Let's do this. Duarte, did I already check him? I kind of forget if I already checked him. Where are you, Nelson? There he is. Yeah, he retired, didn't he? Oh, he played for Dnipro for a little bit as well, at the very end of his career, with his absolutely woeful hair. Who else have we got? Let's check out Van den Heuvel. There's a few of them. Kenny. Oh, look at these names. Karel van den Bosch. Yes, it's a referee. Kenneth. Oh, he retired at the age of 34 after a little while at PSV. So again, not another player that went into management either. Everton. Now, he retired quite early on, didn't he? Oh, this is going to be a tough one to find, isn't it? Is this him? Yes, that's him. Panathinaikos, Marseille, Genk. He went to Slask over in Poland before eventually retiring. He would have been a good manager as well, I think. A lot of people suggested that he might have been a good one. What about Mateus? That's right, I'm reading off a list to my left-hand side so I don't forget stuff. This is a problem because I won't be able to find him because I don't know what his full name is, and unfortunately with those sort of names it's really difficult to find them. Let me just quickly take a little gander at my secondary list that's got some extra players on it. Adam Kirk, yeah, he's one we all loved. Adam Kirk, where are you, buddy? What happened to you? Retired at the age of 34 after playing for Plymouth for a little while. Not a big problem there. Tony Harris, let's see how he did. We went to Al Ain for a little while. Let's see what happened to him after that. He actually continued to globetrot around, went to Saudi Arabia to play for Al Hilal, and then he retired at the age of 36. 74 games for Wales though, so you know, not the end of the world. He's done okay, really, hasn't he? Is there anyone else that's really worth looking at? Actually, let's take a little look at Adri Schott as well. I know he didn't really play for us for very long. He's actually the head of youth development now at who's he at? He's not at anyone. Okay, cool. Played for Chelsea for quite a long time. Went out to Vitesse for free transfer. Then went to AEK over in Greece as well. Or EEK. I don't know. Achievements. Has he done anything? Not actually done anything at all yet. That's a real shame, but that's just one of those things. Is there anyone I've missed off this list? I'm looking through my list right now. What about Christian Bonney? Let's see when he actually did retire as the manager, as a player at Arsenal. Heck, maybe he's still playing. There he is. No, he retired at the age of 37. That's kind of what we kind of expected would happen with him. What about Philippe Eisler. Where is he? There he is. He retired as well at the age of 34 after playing for Mainz for a little bit. Is there anyone else that we have forgotten that is like a really big player in this save that I'm completely glossing over for no apparent reason? I don't think there is. So what we're going to do now, let me just make sure I've got my list up again so I can still see what we're actually doing here and hope that my recording is still recording because we're like 52 minutes into this recording now. I'll trim it down a little bit, but probably not that much. Okay, so old players we've looked at, Bolton we've looked at, the Premier League we've looked at, and now let's take a little look at the Champions League because, of course, we want to see who's actually been winning it over the last few years. One thing we do know is that it wasn't Wimbledon. Is it Europe? It's Europe, isn't it? I think. Or is it? There it is, Champions Cup. Right. Let's see what's been going in with the Champions Cup for the last few seasons. So Stuttgart have won it, Real Madrid, couple of wins for Borussia Mönchengladbach. Oh dear. Manchester City, Benfica won it again. Barcelona, Manchester City, Wimbledon have, of course, won it 3 times, I think. I don't know whether they've got any records on that one. Let's see if there is any records. Most times winner is Real Madrid with 12. So they've obviously they did La Decima, but they've obviously done Lab 2 after Decima. What else we got? Have we got any records? It seems unlikely that we'd have any record. Oh, Alessandro Salvi does have the most assist records, though, which is nice to see as well. I think that's pretty much all we've got on that one, isn't it, really? But there you go. That's who's won the Champions League over the last few seasons. Now, we're going to take a little look at something that's... I think we must have had some players that have won this still, even after we left. And that is the Ballon d'Or. Where is it? Is it award winners? Here we go. So, World Golden Ball. Did anyone for Wimbledon win it? So, Alessandro Salvi won it. Wow, we didn't have a single player win the Ballon d'Or after I left. That's a real shame, actually. I would have kind of hoped that we would have had a bit more than that, really. Rob Visser, Sebastian Quiroga, who is, of course, at City. Hornef, I think I remember playing against him at Bayern. A Japanese guy, Hamamura, won it 3 years in a row. That's really cool to see a Japanese player do as well as that. He's probably German now, I've said that. Of course he's German. Of course he's German. Hey, with a name like Soichiro Hamamura, of course he's German. Like... How stupid of you, Matt. Samu Castellecco, he was a good player as well. Mohamed Salah, I couldn't believe he won the Ballon d'Or. Okay, did we get any second places? Let's just have a little gander. We must have got at least a second place at some point. Oh, there we go. Sam Farmer, with his hilarious grey hair there, won it. Not won it, came third one season, which is actually not bad to see. Did we get any more? I don't think we did, you know. I think we're going to tail off so badly by this point. There's no hope in hell of us getting any back. Oh, no, there you go. Alexander Pida. That season, 30 goals in 42 appearances. Didn't come anywhere near close to winning it, but at least he was, you know, at least he got a mention. There's that. I could have just looked at this, really, couldn't I? Right, so Hamamura won it a few times there. Anyone else that really stood out as noticeably? I would love to see it, like, a really obscure country be on the list or something, but it does look like it's Portugal, Germany, Spain, Argentina, Portugal, Spain, you know, the usual stuff. France, Brazil, Portugal, Germany, Brazil. Look at the hair. There's some serious hair going on here. I'm loving it. Marcelo, Brazilian, of course. So pretty much the same kind of countries doing what they do. What about World Player of the Year? Did we get any closer to winning that one? Maybe having some players getting anywhere near it? I don't think we did, you know. Seems like it's pretty much the same players that are on the list for this one as well. I'm not really sure how this one is decided. It doesn't really seem very clear. But no, I don't think we've got anyone near it. It's basically the same players rotating. World Team of the Year. Maybe we had some players in those. Maybe that's something we can look at. So we did. That was the year that Salvi won it, wasn't it? Because that was the year that he wasn't in the Team of the Season. Because of course not. Did we have any players in it that year? Not a single player. Oh, yes, we did. Gavfrascoli was the Team of the Season goalkeeper, which is nice to see. The following season, Sam Farmer and Gavfrascoli again. Great to see Farmer in there. He must have really stepped it up after I left. Gavfrascoli was on the bench the next year. He's the only player that really stood out there. Alexander Peter finally got in there along with Salvi and Ballesta, of all people. Wow. Fair play. Hey, I dissed him a lot, but well done him. Next season, nothing. I'm guessing that's when we started to fall down. Interesting to see a player from Dinamo Moscow, actually, in the Team of the Year. Gavfrascoli was back again, amazingly. And so was Alessandro Salvi. A couple more players from Moscow, actually. Maybe they're... Oh, no, it's Lorente again. Maybe they had a good team after a little while. Gavfrascoli in there again. Hugo Rodriguez was in there again, which is kind of cool. Imran Baltam finally got back in there along with Alexander Pida. Leicester City had a guy called Danny Saluski who was in the Team of the Year, which is really cool to see as well. Like to see players from... Wow, look at that. A player from the Brazilian leagues. Actually, two players from the Brazilian... Hang on, wait. Colinhos, is that... I can't remember if Internacional is Brazil. Yeah, of course it is. What we're talking about. That's cool to see two players from the Brazilian leagues actually get into the Team of the Year, frankly. Well, you've got to look at something when there's no Wimbledon players in it. Gavfrascoli... Oh, that's all seasons. Wow, is that like the team of the ever? I don't know. That doesn't look right to me. Actually, I think it is, you know. I think that's like the team of the save, and Gavfrascoli is on it. That is pretty damn impressive. So that is the Team of the Year looked at. Let's take a little look at sort of international tournaments and all that jazz as well now, since we've got to look at the World Cup and God knows what else has happened. Maybe an obscure country has come through and done something awesome. Well, you can already see that that's exactly what's happened. Germany won it, obviously. Spain then won it 3 times in a row. Germany, but Colombia won the 2034 World Cup before the domination continued in South America with Brazil and Argentina doing pretty damn well as well. Let's just look at the qualifiers because we've got a World Cup this year. Anyone really kind of cool standing out? Costa Rica, Canada, nice. Nobody really surprising stands out there. Okay, you know, we've got Dr. Congo. They've managed to qualify as well. Can we look at the previous one? Is there a stages thing we can do? Yeah, we can have a look at some of the older World Cups, see if there's anyone particularly interesting that qualified for it. USA. I like these things. I find them kind of interesting. Iran were there, which is kind of cool. Ukraine, Nigeria, South Korea, Mali. That's kind of cool to see Mali at the World Cup. Romania. it's generally the same sort of countries every single time, which is a shame because you'd like to see a bit more sort of, I don't know, variation, I suppose. But what can you do? What can you do? Still a few more to go. Sweden won their group, which is kind of nice to see as well, and nothing really stands out as being particularly interesting there, does it? Okay, let's take a little look at the Euros. That's the other sort of major tournament that's worth looking at. World, and we want, where do we want it? Where is it? Is it just under Europe? Maybe it's under Europe. World Cup, European Championship, that's the one. Right, so Germany, England have won a European Championship. You can tell this game's unrealistic. Germany are in there too with Italy, Holland, Portugal. So Belgium have won it. Belgium won. Yeah, there you go. Bit of a premonition for you guys there. Put your money on Belgium. England then won it. Ignore that. Don't put your money on England. Portugal, Holland, Italy, Germany, England, Germany. England, Germany, England. That will never happen in a million years. Okay, let's have a little gander again at who's been qualifying for it. Oh, no, I want the full. All groups, thank you. See if anyone really surprising got to it. Northern Ireland got there. That's cool. Thing is, it's pretty much going to... There you go. Wales were there as well. I want to see if there's like a random one, like Andorra. There you go, Latvia. That's kind of cool to see Latvia get there. Is there anyone else that's a little bit surprising? It's the same sort of countries pretty much every time, which is kind of what you'd expect. It's at least based a little bit more on realism. It's probably better than it was in previous years, where you'd suddenly find... Like, I think I had Serbia win the World Cup on my Portsmouth looking forward. I think that's what happened anyway. I can't remember exactly. There you go. Iceland qualified again. Surprisingly, they haven't qualified since, actually. But there you go. That is that as well. Are there any other things I would like to look at? I'm kind of getting to the point now where I think we should probably just call this episode a day before it stretches into the second hour of video, because this is going to take a little while to upload as well. So, basically, the new save, it's not going to be like a thing where it will start tomorrow like that. It's going to be... It takes me a little while to work on it. I know you might think, well, surely you just have to record some FM. It's really not as simple as that. I could do that, but I'd rather put out a really sort of quite polished product. And you know I like to do my intro stuff, and I've got a lot of stuff I'm working on for the new save that's a little bit different to what I've done before in terms of the production value. I'm building new graphics stuff for it. I'm trying out some quite interesting new ideas for it, just to make it that much better, basically. And I really hope it's going to be entertaining. Now, I don't know whether it's going to last, how long the save will last. It depends on how long it takes to do, or if it just gets to the point where we're just bored of it. That could change as well. It really does depend. After that, I might do an Outcast to Icons or something like that, just to finish off FM16 or something. I really don't know. But I'm really, really looking forward to getting stuck into Midland. I really hope you guys have enjoyed the Wimbledon save as well. I really, really have. It's been fantastic. It's just been great fun to do, just to sit down and play some FM with you guys. Now, of course, I need to work on a tactic. Something else I've noticed about... I was doing a little test save with Midland just to sort of look at the players they've got, and I think the database I've got might be a bit buggered. Or is it literally a case that half their first team squad is out for 9 months? Because literally every single player I went on that was any good was injured for like 6 to 9 months. Like Sisto, 9 months. Is Sisto injured in real life? I don't know. I need to take a look at that, because if that's the case, we could have a really struggling start, because half the first team squad is injured on the database that I've got. So maybe I need to update that and take a little look at some things as well. So in terms of when the save might start, I'm aiming to maybe have it start on Sunday, because you know I like a good Sunday start with the usual double episode thing that I do with the intro episode and then a first proper episode after that. It might not be Sunday. I'm not making any promises on it, because of course I just don't know at this point. As for the saves being put up, they'll be put up sometime during the week, hopefully. Don't worry, I'll talk about it on Twitter. So yeah, you're not gonna have any videos for a few days, but that's just one of those things. I'd rather do that than half-arse it. You know, I want to put as much effort as I can into these videos. So if you have enjoyed the save and you're looking forward, and if you got to this point in the video, let me know, and just write the word candelabra in the comments. If you've actually got to this point in the video, write the word candelabra, because the main thing is people won't have any idea what the hell you're talking about, and it's a little in-joke just between me and you. Anyway, and if you have enjoyed it, of course, drop a like on the video as well. I'm not going to set a like target, but just, you know, if you enjoyed the saves and you like the channel, do that as well. And if you are new and for some reason this is the first video of mine that you chose to watch, then subscribe to the channel. I promise not all my videos are an hour long, honest. Anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching. I really cannot thank you enough. Thank you so much. Bye bye.